5th annual Danny Barker Festival, which is really amazing. It's growing every year. We get more people to come out and learn about Danny Barker. And today is going to be sort of a New Orleans banjo style and guitar style, I guess, clinic on music of his time. And we have two of the greatest experts here, Don Vappie on 6-string and tenor banjo. How about a hand for Don? And someone I've heard about, I've never met him before until today, is David Bandrowski. You would think I would know how to pronounce that name, my name. Everybody asks me how I got my name Masakowski from New Orleans, and it's like, hey, streetcar named Desire, Stanley Kowalski. He was my uncle. Anyway, so it's very informal. I guess we'll just open up for questions. Maybe we'll play a couple of tunes or something, or how you want to start with playing anything, Don, or you want to talk a little bit? Anybody? And of course, we can start with questions too. Does anybody have any?
Yeah, I noticed on a couple of Danny songs that I've learned, he's all downstroke. Can you talk about that a second?
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's all downstroke, but he's on banjo or guitar.
Guitar.
I think the thing about Danny is he was noted for is this thing called fat chords.
Right.
So where cats were playing like Freddie Green and people like that were playing almost like as part of the the rhythm section, and they were more felt and heard. So like that kind of stuff where it's really percussive and it's very
style.
Yeah. Where Danny was playing like almost full chords, like he'd play like and then he used open string. Yeah, I guess he does mostly use only downstrokes, but and I think that's because it's he's thinking of the guitar as more of a percussion instrument, it's like holding a drumstick in your hand. So, you have anything to say about that, man? I mean, in terms of like doing
guitar sounds really good.
Yeah, it sounds good.
It sounds like guitar sounds great.
Yeah. Well, this is
acoustic.
What's that?
The guitar, is that electric or acoustic?
This is acoustic. And this is, and just, I wanted to bring this just for notoriety. This is actually Danny's guitar. And Danny, was like the greatest honor in my life for some reason when right before he passed away, he told his family to give the guitar to me, and he gave his banjo to Detroit Brooks.
Oh, wow.
And there's a picture floating around. I don't know if you can see that picture right there. You can, pass that around, but that's a photo I have of the guitar and his banjo, But anyway, so what do you guys have to say, man?
You kind of said it. The fat chord thing, that's interesting because that's, when I first learned to play, I was just watching people when I learned to play guitar. And somebody said, Danny says, you got 6 strings, you might as well play them all.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So I kind of thought that's how it went. It wasn't until later that I actually thought it went the other way. But what you just did sounded just like it.
Yeah. Well, I've been trying to transcribe some of his stuff, the way he does things,
So the acoustics, was that loud back then? You didn't need no amplifier?
Well, I think, Danny actually put I guess at that time, it was, like people like, were starting to get into putting pickups on guitars. And then in that picture, you actually see it. There's like a floating pickup on it. Okay. And there's actually, they drilled a hole right here, I guess, to put the volume control. But normally in a big band or whatever, the guitar was not amplified. In fact, the one time I ever played this in a big band was with Winton when he came down here many years ago.
Right.
And he came and conducted. Ellis had a big band, and Winton came and conducted the band. And we're doing music mainly of that era, and I decided to bring this guitar only with no amp. Yeah. And I remember Bill Huntington played bass with no amp, and just put it on the wood floor. It sounded great, But in order to be heard, man, I had to just whack the thing so hard. Like he gave me a solo, but I couldn't do a single note solo. There's no way. I had to just do like a chord solo because that's the only way I could get anything out at all, because it just doesn't project. And then I think that ties in really well to the idea that a lot of the early banjo players were guitar players, and they started playing banjo because it projected so well. Like if you listen to Don play or David play, you can tell that the banjo just cuts through. It's much louder. It's just a louder instrument, But anyway, jumping in, I'm just.
Freddie Green, I'm told, had his action like this high or something.
Right.
Because the higher the string is, the more tension against the body, which get more volume. But he played like 2 notes.
Yeah. But it's the rhythm he generated, it's just because he had such a strong pulse in the rhythm section. It was like he was such an integral part of what the drums were doing and what the bass were doing. And Danny too, even though Danny was playing chords that had more notes to them, the fatter chords and stuff like that. Danny's rhythm was just amazing, man. Checking out some of his stuff, he just had an amazing time as well, So it's really about a rhythmic thing.
How does his style differ from Freddie Green?
Well, we were just talking about that.
New Orleans.
It's kind of the same. It's kind of the same concept. It's just that Danny was playing chords that just had more notes to them.
As far as his right hand.
Yeah.
When he plays his New Orleans swing, like I don't know how to describe it. Is it different? Let's see.
I don't know. Do you find that there's difference? Too much of a difference?
It's slight. It's like having that
Shuffle.
I guess the Creole influence, I think, is what it is and it comes down to what I think is your concept of time, how you internalize it. Whereas I noticed, just to put it really simply, oversimplified, some people look at a rhythm and say 1 and 2 and 3 and try to really break it down like it is. Whereas a Caribbean guy or African guy might, if they not necessarily read the rhythm, but if they played that same rhythm, they would internalize it to where they wouldn't be thinking about the division as evenly on the basis of 1 beat or half a beat. They'd be thinking of it as that's the rhythm and the whole thing, And I think Danny had that. I think most people in New Orleans, I think that's what sets New Orleans apart from most places, is even people that can hardly work their instruments yet can have this concept of time that's just part of the cultural aspect. It's connected. It's cultural. So
yeah. I remember, when I was on doing a lot of playing with people from I was in Japan, and we were doing a Blue Note festival. I had been on Blue Note, and we had to get together and play with some of the hip guys from New York and stuff like that. And I was just really taken by the fact that I feel like the guys in New Orleans, just had more. Their focus was more on rhythm, and their focus seemed to be more on stretching time and just being more out, really floaty and stuff like that. And it's just that, so to me that was just like a real cultural difference right there, just their approach to like how you would play, might be playing standard tunes or whatever, but they would have a very elastic sense of time, also an elastic sense of harmony, more rhythmic, whereas I think the guys in New Orleans just have much more. They sort of focus on the rhythm first, I don't know. Does that make sense?
More connected to the dance, which is a very African concept. So I actually was fortunate to meet this guy at African Museum, and I forget where I was on tour, but we talked for a few hours. And when I got a DVD and a CD from him, and as I was leaving, he says, "Oh, by the way, don't separate the music from the dance because you won't understand it."
Yeah.
So that right there, boom, New Orleans. So kind of hit. So on the strumming thing with the guitar, like just when he played banjo, I remember him saying he used to do this figure 8 thing, where it's, so that's an upstroke.
Yeah.
That would be like his 9 chord. So that's, and he played those big chords on banjo too. So, I was telling Steve earlier, I'm normal guitar tuning here, E.
Strings are the same as guitar.
Same as guitar. Danny used a lighter gauge string and tuned it up a minor third to G. So his open chord was his open chord. So that kind of made it sound a little bit brighter than what I have.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he did it quite, like, I know he does, when he does, like, When You Smile, he does it in the key of G, you know. Of course, that was, and he sings in the key of G, so maybe that was one of his favorite keys, maybe because he, like, you know, he was vocalizing, I'm not sure, you know.
Yeah. Someone told me he used to paint the head because he was trying to disguise it. As you know, I mean, socially, I mean, as my generation hated the banjo because it had these social implications of playing, you know, that's the kind of music you played for the rich white folks. I mean, that's just, you know, and there was even characters in books, you know, where old banjo used to go get this and that, but I don't know, I just looked at it as being connected to the funk music I grew up playing, you know, in the 70s. And in fact, my first impression of the banjo was that it had this rhythmic muted guitar quality where you played the lines, that kind of stuff. And I thought, oh shit, you don't have to really mute it to do that. You know?
It's already compressive.
It sounded perfect. So that's the first thing drew me in. And then I got to work with Danny too, because I play bass.
Right.
Which is, I think, what keeps me from hurting as much, because it's a different movement. But
keeps you employed too.
oh, and I don't know about that part.
This guy, man, he goes all around the world.
It's
playing.
I played bass the other night and I'm hurting because it's if you don't do it all the time. But what was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say. Anyway.
Let's play a tune, man. Can we play When You're Smiling in G, and I'll see if I can play some of the Danny Barker. Can you take the melody, and I'll see if I can play some of the Danny Barker?
Okay.
1, 2, 1,
1. that grinning, cause you're supposed to be smiling. The whole world smiles with you. When you're laughing, laughing out loud, laughing in the street, laughing in the corner, laughing when that girl look at you with no clothes on. The whole world smiles with you. But when you're frowning, you bring out the rain and you look like a fool. So stop all that whining and crying like a great big baby. Be happy again, cause when you're smiling, yes, when you're smiling, oh yeah, the whole world smiles with you. The whole world smiles with you. Shabba-doo-ba-boo-da-boo-da, oh yeah. He always would embellish the lyrics of things, and that was his thing, man. He'd say stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a bit of chords too, man, like the way he play like when he gets that E7 chord.
Yeah.
You know, I would never play that. I would always play that chord, you know, but he plays that chord. And then, and he goes to C major 7. This has some, and then like the turnaround. Like I would go, but that's so much hipper to do it at a flat 3 diminished. It's such a hipper sound, you know. It's really cool.
Yeah, they used to, who was it? Warren Baptiste showed me something they used to do where they would, they do that kind of voicing. Or like a D minor, they'd play it A, F, C, and then and go back to, you know.
First version to a major, right?
It's just the way he was voicing the 2/5 thing and with the flat 9.
It's just little things like that that sort of identify the era, you know, that they were doing things, you know, differently, you know. So just trying to learn the language of that era, you know, they're playing chords a little bit differently, playing turnarounds differently,
Yeah.
you know, and, yeah.
How do you play when it's a big band? It's still the same big chords and open strings?
Well, how would I do it?
Well, how did Danny?
You know,
I hear that, you know, in small.
I don't know. I don't think there's any real good recordings of him playing. I know he played with Cab Calloway, but I don't. You know, it's very hard. It's almost impossible to hit a guitar. You know what I mean? So I can't say that I know.
Yeah.
You know.
But you know, if you stay, like he was if you stay basic, like on the triad or dominant 7, you don't really get in the way of the piano player.
No.
And it's more of a rhythmic.
Yeah, it's more about the rhythm. It's not even doesn't even have to do with the harmony. You know, very little of the guitar has to do with the harmony. It's more about just trying to generate a real powerful rhythm, like you were talking about, like because it's ultimately dance music. You know,
Right.
and just trying to have a really powerful rhythm. You know, and even the piano players are playing very rhythmically too.
Right,
you know,
right.
so I think that it's just good for the guitar to get into this sort of like steady pattern of chomping. You know, where the pianist can sort of freely comp, and it doesn't really necessarily interfere with what the guitar player is doing. You know, because he's basically part of the rhythm section. You know, the drums. You know. Anybody have any questions? Yeah.
How does Strom do 4-string banjos? Strings on it?
Yeah.
He's playing 4-string.
Yeah.
This is a tenor banjo. There's
Tenor.
3 kind of, or 4 types of names banjos. There's a tenor, a plectrum, 5-string, and 6-string.
And the strings are what
The tenor is tuned like a cello or a viol. It's in fifths. So viola and cello tune C, G, D, A. But the cello it's a cello range. It's closer to probably somewhere, the fingering somewhere in between the two.
The distance between the strings is different.
Right.
Like this, on the guitar and all, it's like
Like
And
to
on
play
here
a
it's-
minor pentatonic
Like
scale
this
is
one.
hard. On here.
you
But
see
this
the
is
difference.
fifths, right?
This is fifths.
Right.
So, you know, guitar minor pentatonic scales,
Yeah.
Right.
So-
Let me see how you do, how you voice that fourth?
What chord is that?
That's just stacked fourths.
Oh, what's that?
You know, normally we just do it, you know, you just only want to get on, you know, just bar your finger, but on the banjo.
And your first string is where it's not D flat.
First string is C. Well, my first string is A.
But.
My low string is C. So it's C, G, D, and A.
Okay.
So if Steve played C, G, I'm sorry, the C on the A string, well, yeah, on the low string, then G, then D, and A. Yeah.
Yeah, just the opposite, you know.
The opposite, right.
I got, you know.
That helped you? You're a bass first, right?
Yeah, I was a bass player first.
Did that
Well, I was
help you?
actually
think
piano
opposite?
first. Yeah, I find myself as a bass is the same four strings, but in fourths, like these. So, what I find myself doing, because if you walk in the bass line, I find myself walking chord lines, thinking from the top down as opposed from the bottom up when I play banjo. Because on the bass, I'd be thinking C. I can't even think that. But here I think about the top note and build down as opposed to thinking the bottom note going up. But it's just different.
Yeah, Carl LeBlanc told me you just it's like playing the guitar with a mirror in front of you. Something like you know, like just the way it's everything
Yeah.
basically
Kinda.
a mirror image of what it looks like on the guitar. I still can't see
That'd be a
that.
mirror that flips things up and down versus left, right?
Yeah, right.
I gotta ask him about
Well,
that.
I've heard him say that
kind of
before.
looks at it sideways, you know,
Yeah,
it's
right.
like-
What I did actually there was a program on Johnny Dodds that we were doing up in New York at Jazz at Lincoln Center, and Dodds and Jelly Roll, and Johnny St. Cyr played a six string. A lot of the guys played the six string. Like the recordings you hear of Jelly Roll and King Oliver, they were playing mostly six strings. I think one reason is the bass string, because you couldn't really hear the bass on those recordings with Oliver. So they would do bassish things like they do those kinds of bass things and play them on the banjo, and you would hear. On what got me when I got this and I tuned it, because I used to tune this to the top four of the guitar.
Oh, the guitar, okay.
Yeah,
And
right.
a lot of guys do that.
Yeah.
Which is,
Yeah.
I guess, so many. I mean, why is it? It's legitimate. I mean, you can play a normal guitar chord,
Oh, okay. Without
guitar
the two.
fingerings, you know.
Yeah, that's what usually if I had to double, like, you know, in a show situation, I had to play banjo. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
A four-string banjo, tune it like the top four strings of a guitar.
Guitar, and you accord it like you.
Yeah, like I get to
Yeah.
the guitar, you know, which was actually a good study for me because I started on bass too, so I'm always like thinking of the bass notes going up. So it was like, it really kind of got my voicings together with the top four string, you know, it's just kind of weird, 'cause I
Okay.
never looked at playing chords that way before, you know.
Tommy Tedesco did that.
Yeah?
Tuned it at
Right.
guitar.
He's doing everything I
He played on all those sessions.
Right.
Hollywood tuning.
Yeah,
The
one
Holloway tuning, yeah.
That's what they call it, huh?
Well, it's because Tommy Tedesco specifically would take any job. And just
Oh,
tune
yeah.
it too. Oh, yeah, Bazooki, yeah, I played that.
He's the guy he had like a whole trailer full of like different stringed instruments.
Right.
They were all tuned like a guitar.
Like a guitar.
Yeah.
Can you just sound like the Spanish guitar, Tom? He says, okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Perfect.
Did you guys talk at all about any of the like Caribbean type songs that he did, or that whole side of remix stuff that he did?
We haven't
Who?
yet.
The like more calypso kind of
Like-
Caribbean
like
style sort of.
Well, we put them under the category of Creole tunes, like "El La Ba," "Salida."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Where
because
did it?
That's like the islands, Haiti.
But did he have a specific connection? Was it stuff that he?
Yeah, I think his family's from, I can't remember where, but he's related to
Barber.
the Barbarans and to the Bruniuses,
That's
some
what I was
kind of
curious
way.
about.
And they have that Caribbean connection.
Creole, yeah.
Plus, you know, you can't ignore the fact that that big influx of Haitian people after the revolution. In fact, part of what I did 20 years ago was trying to learn those songs, some of them. And I learned one from Kid Ory. And when I would sing it, this lady says, what language are you speaking? She was a linguist. So she says, well, can you write it down for me? I said, phonetically, but I don't know, you know, I just learned it like a French person would learn a Beatles song, you know, just learn what it sounded. So anyway, she called the next day and told me it was a Haitian dialect
Creole.
because it was more short, you know, like sapatafe, as opposed to more of a singing French kind of thing.
Is the right hand stuff real different?
It's like one of them is. That kind of thing, but that's not that different than. Hey, block away. That's not different. I mean, that's one of the things I realize that fascinates me is that rhythm, because you hear it in Haitian music as, or you might hear it as, or when you put them together, you get the Trucillo thing. That has been part of New Orleans music from the beginning. And I even find it creeping over into pop style. So some famous female singer has that rhythm that starts the tune. Something she does, I should know who that is, but I don't.
There's also a Haitian guitar player that's on this festival. His name is Claude Carré.
Yeah.
And I thought I played last night at the Prime Example. I thought his name was on there, but he didn't make that one. But I think maybe he might be making some of the other concerts, you know. But he's a Haitian jazz guitar player from Haiti.
Are y'all doing anything daytime?
There's a lot of stuff going on. Look at those little pamphlets there. There's tons of stuff going on. Just tons of stuff, you know. And so just take one of those pamphlets or go to the Danny Barker Festival website. And it's amazing. You know, I have to give Detroit Brooks a lot of credit because I mean he really, you know, I mean he tried to get me involved. Yeah, I try to be as involved as I possibly can, but he's really doing a great job, and it seems to be building every year. You know, I was really surprised. I mean, last night this Prime Example was packed with people. You know, it's like whoa, and like a lot of people just came for the Danny Barker Festival. You know, which is really cool.
I called him. He's such a nice guy.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've been a fly in the ointment for the last few years. I agree to do something, and then something I've already booked gets changed a little bit, and. Like Saturday, I got this big sales thing I'm doing for this company, and they moved the time. I finish at 4. I'm supposed to start at 4, but it's at the Jazz and Heritage Center, which might be like 10 minutes late. He said, "Don't worry, man, we'll be okay." And he's just
he's definitely laid back.
man, he's understanding. So anyway, say 11. So, want to do Salidam? Y'all want to play that? It's just F and C.
Okay.
It's a 2 chords, kind of like Elaba. And he's credited with writing this one, but I never could really find a real copyright, so maybe it's just an old tune. But I did see some sheet music where he got credit for writing.
What's the title?
It's called Salidam Bonjour.
What's that mean?
It's like a like a street lady, like, I don't want to say a dirty lady, because it might have other implications. It might translate into dirty lady, or, you know, street woman.
Right.
But, and I'm not sure of all the translation, but she's basically sitting on a step, and they're saying, hey, you know, dirty lady, whatever, how are you? You know, bonjour, hello.
That sounds like that other, what's the other song that's like that too, that you sing?
There's a La Ba, it's almost exactly the
Yeah, there's
same.
another one too, what is it, bonjour madame, and what we.
Oh, yeah, that's Les Oignons.
Les Oignons.
That one's actually a Haitian song.
Yeah, okay.
And they recorded that. That's I found that out in New York
Yeah.
after Katrina hit, and I went to New York. I was on my way to Jazz Lincoln Center in a taxi, and the driver was Haitian,
Yeah.
which is common in New York.
Right.
And for some reason, I just started singing that tune to myself. She turns around and says, man, how you know that song? I said, New Orleans, man. It's part of the thing, you know. She says, every child in Haiti sings that song.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all about the onions and the grandma going to the market with the grandma. Are you gonna? There's a part, pour coucher. Are you gonna go to sleep? And oui, madame. Vous pas mentir. You're not lying to me. No, madame. Because in the morning you get hot kala. You know, it still sell kala somewhere. It's like a rice cake or something.
Oh, okay.
They
Oh,
do
right.
for breakfast.
So, yeah.
Bel kala, too chaud. Bel kala, too chaud, hot. So anyway,
Yeah.
this is one that he recorded with Albert Nicholas and Pops Foster and James P. Johnson. And you know, I think you can still get this, called Jazz a la Creole. It's on the GHB label. It's really interesting on some of these tunes because you got Danny, Pops Foster, and Albert Nicholas, all New Orleans, Creole, cultural thing happening, growing up in this. Then you got James P. Johnson, who's not. And his concept's a little different. Like you can really hear it on this tune, Creole Blues. Because they're all going like, doo-doo-dee, doo-doo-dee, and James P. is like, he's like swinging kind of, but they're all really good musicians, so they make it fit.
Right.
And that was something, my wife's a historian, so I ended up, when I first met her, going to conferences. And at the time, this guy, Alan Jabor, was over the, something at Smithsonian, I think, cultural thing. And I ended up playing bass with a bluegrass band at this conference. He said, oh, we got a bass player in New Orleans from them. Oh, God. So I went up and played with them. And their whole pulse is on 1 and 3. It's on the downbeat. And our pulse is syncopated on the 2 and 4. So whereas they're playing like, and we're playing, you know, we're kind of like doing this. So I tried to get with them, but some part of me couldn't actually go all the way. Because I was trying to feel it the other way. Anyway, Jabor was like, he said, and one thing he said that I never forgot, he said, culture is fluid. So that's how things change. People from different places come together, they play together, they talk together, and the rhythm of who they are mixes with the rhythm of who these people are, and things evolve. And that's a perfect metaphor for New Orleans jazz, with all the different things that came in.
Do they have a mandolin player? Sometimes they'll chop on 2 and 4. Bluegrass.
Yeah, Bill Monroe does that, and it's a little, but it's a different, it's still not But then, I gotta say this, Bill Monroe was influenced by a blues guitar player who's more, we're doing something like that in February in Bellevue, Washington. I'm bringing a trio up to a bluegrass festival to play the music that influenced Bill Monroe. So that's interesting.
Well, how is their 2 and 4 different from what you, what if they went in 3?
Because, well, basically
No, I
the
know
group
that.
is, it's like listening to, how can I put it? It's like listening to bluegrass. Don't, ding, 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 everybody's clapping on. Boom, bam, bam, dum, boom, ding, 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 dum, boom, it's not, it's not that.
Yeah, it's like the snare drum though.
No, I understand that, what I'm saying, you're saying what their mandolin player would be playing on 2 and 4 is different from what you would,
No, it's
you
the
or somebody from
same,
New
it's
Orleans
the
would
same
play?
beat, but
Right.
it goes back to what I was saying about how you interpret time,
Right.
how you feel time.
I see.
Right.
It's like, it's no different than people talking, you know, like the blues singers was piece. I'm a man that been, you know, I'm a man, and you would say that, you know, whereas you get, you know, what's his name? He came up with his leather one time, says, I'm a man. Doesn't really sound like the blues, but, you know, Clarence Forrest said that if you go sing the blues, you gotta speak the dialect. That's interesting. Anyway, play this tune for you. Because it's like this is the intro and the outro. That would be G minor C. Now we had a bass player.
sound a lot like Aiko Aiko.
That's what it
You can sing the same tune.
You know what? Now that you bring that up, I can never remember the lyrics, but I got a song for you that's like that. It's called, do I have it? Come on. See if I got it. No, I ain't got it. Oh, well. But I remember the chorus is like, Panama, my Tom Bay, Panama, my Tom Bay, Panama, like a tea, da 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 da. That's the song, that's a Haitian tune. We think, my grandma, your grandma, sitting by the fire. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's all really, we have a real strong Caribbean influence in what we do. And it's really interesting, because this is the only place in America that has it.
Well, I guess they consider New Orleans the northernmost Caribbean
That's right.
city, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's part of
Right, we
the
cook
whole
like
area.
that,
You like
talk
that.
like that.
Stuff like that.
We late for things like that. You know, I had a French guy tell me, we had a guy from Guadeloupe in the band, and we was at rehearsal at 10 o'clock. He says, you know, man, he thinks rehearsal is in the morning tomorrow, so it's in the morning. You'll get there in the morning. He might be late and get there at 1 o'clock. Because, well, you know, I had to do this and that, so then it's just a different way of thinking.
Cool. Well, I've got a few more questions, but we're gonna probably wrap it up pretty soon, but I have to buzz out of here, but any more questions?
Yeah, I just want a little bit on voicing. So it sounds like Danny was using like, major sevens, major sixes. Did he use like any special voicings, or were they like all six?
Well, like I said, like he tended to use like when he does like dominant chords, he would always put like if that's an E7-9 chord, he'd always put the fifth in the bass, you know. But he would fill the whole chord out like and make a six string chord, you know. And like a C chord, like when he was just playing that tune in C, it's like I always play a C chord like this, but he would always play it like. He played like this, you know what I mean? It just has a more meaty kind of sound to it, you know what I mean?
It's like a piano voice.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually, it's this voicing right here.
Right.
You don't do the bar C like he was doing. The bar, yeah. You don't use that bar C.
I don't know if he did or not. That he probably did at times, but. I was too busy trying to play it to watch him too much.
Right. Yeah.
But he did tell me one time, the first time I met him, we were on a gig with Bob Prince, and I was playing bass. And I even remember the song was "I Can't Give You Anything But Love." And everybody played a solo, and then they give it to me on the bass, so I couldn't think anything, so I just played the melody. And after the song, he turned around and says, "Man, son, you're gonna go a long way with the melody." So he says, you gotta learn the melody. The melody is important. That's the message. Which reminded me of, now it reminds me of Monk saying, every song you play should sound like the song.
Right.
Like the song. The only way you can do that is to quote the melody.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed when you were playing the sort of chord melody style, you were really using a lot of rhythmic drive in your melodic playing. It's very, very impressive.
That's, when I started playing banjo, all the banjo players were playing or they were ringing. That's just the way it was done, and I didn't like that. it was too boring for me. And I just started playing what I thought fit, which was I'd get busy, which I didn't think it was interfering, because what I was doing was trying to just find my place inside the ensemble, which is what we all do. And you know, I remember the guy saying, "Man, you don't need to do all that. You know, you just play." I said, "Okay, thanks," and we left. And he was good intention, but I just did what I wanted to do. And that was from the beginning. And like I said, my wife's a historian. She's researching everything. If I say, "Man, I saw a tree with blue leaves," she, "You know, it came from so-and-so. I wonder how it got here. Must have been this particular bird that..." She'd be, that's her, you know? So she ended up, she started listening to different banjo players, which brought her across some of the Caribbean stuff from Haiti. And she said, "You know, you sound more like a Caribbean banjo player than a jazz player." That was her take on it. And then she says, "But that makes sense." Because of where we are and where you're from, you should sound like that. It's like everybody else is wrong. But, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's really interesting, man, because you're having an influence on all the banjo players now that are coming and trying to play like you, and you're introducing things that haven't been done before.
Well, they've been done. They just were ignored, I guess. Or maybe not. I don't know.
No, I mean, you're adding a lot of your own personality, which is how the music changes over time. You know, everybody kind of contributes a little. You know.
And it all comes from me deciding to pick up this banjo, even though we hated it. Because I wondered. I said, "Now who could allow somebody else to make you hate something that belongs to you?"
Yeah, right.
That was the critical thinking that comes with learning music in school, whether you become a musician or not. You think about things, how many ways? And that made me change it, so. Also made me not burn a few bridges, but blow them up. So. Anyway.
Tell us about where you're playing. Are you doing any more stuff at the Danny Barker Festival?
Yeah, I'm doing tomorrow. Today's Thursday. Tomorrow night at I think it's at the Jazz and Heritage Center. Let me look. I gotta look on my calendar.
Yeah, I know. There's so much stuff happening. What about you, David? You playing anywhere this weekend?
I'm not. Yeah, no more with the Danny Barker Festival.
Yeah. And I, like I said, this first time I met you, man. And Don was telling me you have like a banjo store or something. Tell us a little bit about it. What's that all about?
It's out in my house, but it's mostly online. Yeah, but
so you repair, sell, and collect.
Yeah, I do new stuff. I don't do vintage stuff really. But I work for a banjo company. I work for a Deering Banjo Company. And then I noticed the banjo dealers are all terrible, so I didn't take very much to.
I'm a Deering, banjo, 6-string banjo.
It's at the Heritage Center, Jazz and Heritage Center.
Okay.
Can I get each one of y'all's names? I can't do it.
Yeah, this is and there's a flyer outside, but this is Don Vappie.
Yeah, okay.
And this is David Bandrowski. And I'm Steve Masakowski.
Okay, yeah, I think I heard it.
It's the old funeral home on North Rampart.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's right.
Cool.
If you've been here long enough, you would know that.
You guys playing for the birthday bash?
I'm not. I had to excuse myself. I have to leave town today to go to New York and play with my daughter. But I'm not sure exactly what else is going on this week. But there's a couple of things I had to bow out of. But if you take one of those little pamphlets, man, and then there's it's amazing how much stuff there's going on this week. Performances and lectures and clinics and all kind of stuff. And it's not only just related to Danny Barker. It's related to people who admire Danny. But like for me, it's really interesting for me because I didn't really grow up listening to Danny Barker's music. I just knew he used to come to my gigs. I used to play at Snug Harbor, and he liked the way I played. And one time, actually, he was a judge on my band was playing one of these competitions, you know, and I was one of the 3 finalists of 3 bands, you know. And my band didn't win. We came in second, you know. But Danny was so apologetic to me afterwards. Oh man, I thought you should have got blah blah blah. You know, it's like, oh man, you know. It's like, and I think that was actually the first time I ever talked to Danny. You know, I mean, that was you know, many years ago. I was like in my early 20s or something. You know? But no, he loved all kinds of music, man, and loved people. It was just a great spirit, you know, very welcoming, inclusive kind of person, and. You know, I'm learning more about him, you know, later in my, you know, career in life, you know, and now, of course, you know, paying homage to him with this festival, I've learned a lot more about him and learning how he influenced all these young players too, you know, through the church and the brass bands and things like that.
I'm the same. I didn't really, you know, I didn't get to work with him that much.
Mm-hmm.
Every night, but if I did, it was on bass, so I didn't really get to. Got to hear him, but even not that much. I mean, I could probably play that many gigs. I mean, the one that stands out is we did something with Winton at Mahalia Jackson in the early 90s. I played bass. That's when I played with Ruby Braff and Howard Hall, and it was fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, we took a break at the rehearsal, and Danny was sitting kind of like this, and I was behind him. I said, hey, Danny, that's a nice banjo. He's like, yeah, huh? You like it? Huh? That's how, you know, you like it? Huh? I said, he said, here, check it out. So he gave it to me. It was almost exactly like this one. And I looked at it, I said, oh yeah, that's real nice. And went to give it back. He said, play it! okay, I'll play it a little bit.
Back on that?
Huh?
That's not open back.
It's a back. I don't know if somebody cut those holes in or not.
It's like a resonator of sorts or what? Just a back?
It's kind of a resonator, but screws on. A lot of the old resonators screwed on like that. So I think if it had the normal resonator that reaches over, it might be even too dark, because the back gives you more bass response. So, I got it from a guy in Oregon, Wisconsin. That's where I bought it, the banjo shop, Richelieu. So,
That's an old big one.
yeah. And, you know, it's probably not worth as much as one that's been untouched, because I actually had a truss rod put in it. I have a truss rod, so. But you know.
They're made to be played.
That's similar to one that Danny played.
Yeah, it's like I said, he played a Vega too.
It looks like on that picture. It looks like
didn't have holes in it.
But it didn't stick out like this. Didn't it?
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
You already know where his banjo like that is?
Yeah, Detroit Brooks.
Detroit.
But I think that with Detroit Tony, see, I had this one when I got it from Danny. It was not in great shape. It was playable up to about here, and then what happens with these old Gibson guitars is that the truss rod ends right here, and so everything above here I just couldn't play. It was all just, you know, it was just the neck was like warped totally, you know. So I actually gave it to Todd's Music, and they did a really good job of really making it more playable. And he had this old funky gig bag that it came with. It was like too small. It was like I couldn't. So I bought a nice case for it, you know.
What model is that?
It's a Super 400.
Okay.
And this is the largest acoustic guitar that Gibson ever made.
And what year is that?
I think it's 1938, I believe. I did some research on it, and I'm pretty sure it's 1938.
Pretty good.
And this was given to him by Gibson, you know, when he was playing with Cab Calloway, you know, sort of like an endorsement kind of thing. But the Detroit told me that the banjo suffered Katrina damage, you know, and I'm not sure if it's
Playable.
if it's possible to restore it or not. But I mean, Detroit has it, you know. Anyway, you should learn more about Danny. I mean, you know, Danny was also a historian, storyteller. He has a really great book called A Life in Jazz. If you ever want to kind of just get an idea of what early New Orleans was at that time, yeah, it's a great book. You know, you should pick that up. You know,
At Borders, probably at Borders or online.
right? Oh yeah, Yeah, I'm sure you can, you know, wherever you order your books from, it's still out there, because I got a copy of it, for sure.
I think if they have it at the bookstore on Britannia in Washington.
Yeah.
In
Britannia, Washington.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thank you so much for coming. And,